um, conversation, Black History Month celebration, feel free to do so. The space is open for all. We thank you all for being here. Just going to give everyone some time to log in, to settle down, and reflect. If the music is too loud, you may want to hit that minus key. Turn it down on your side. There's something in the chat asking everyone to have a paper and pen. There will be an exercise today. For those that are on the LaKea Executive Board, if you don't mind helping our board members by reminding them in our group chat that we're here in Zoom celebrating Black History Month lunchtime conversations so they can join us. If you already have your paper and your pen, go ahead and give us a thumbs up, a clap, something to let us know that you're ready. A plain piece of paper and pen was the only thing that was required from you today. So we have the CEO present, we have DHS present. We want to thank Royetta, who is from the Black Employees Association from Metropolitan Water District. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for being here. We have CSSD, our Vice President, Ms. Tara Parham, and also Tina Robinson, our second Vice President and Chairperson for this year's Black History Month programming. Again, my name is Tori Ellis Gann. I get the honor and privilege to serve as your president. I think we've given everyone enough space and time. I think we've given everyone enough space and time. So at this time, I'm going to turn us over into the hands of Latrice Jones, who will be doing our introduction. Thank you.
Thank you. Happy afternoon. Happy Black History Month and happy Valentine's Day. Thank you all for joining us. Excuse me. I'm sure others will be joining. We are celebrating our Black History Month 2024, and our theme is arts and Black history. And we thought, what better day just when we talk about love and celebrate love, that we would talk about the love we have for ourselves. And we do that today through arts and healing. So we have with us the Conceptual Art Therapy, which is a nonprofit organization based here in LA County in the lovely city of Pomona. And we have one of the founders of that organization with us, Mia Reeves, who will be speaking and sharing our workshop with us today. So we're very excited to do so. As I asked, if you have a pen and paper or pencil, please feel free to share that and bring that with you as well. I do want to just give you a little introduction. Mia Lee is an artist here in Pomona with a passion for utilizing art as a medium for healing and expression. With a nurturing spirit and a keen understanding of the human psyche, Mia has empowered and encouraged youth and families through her work in the community as a counselor and a mentor. Her journey began at the University of La Verne, where she delved into the complexities of psychology, laying the foundation for her understanding of the human mind and developing her interest in art therapy. As an art therapist, together with her husband, John Lee, an art therapist and a master of fine art, Mia co-founded Conceptual Art Therapy, a nonprofit organization whose mission is to make art and its therapeutic properties accessible to all. Their joint commitment to leveraging art as a therapeutic tool has brought transformative changes in our community and those around us. The programs they have written and facilitate include, but are not limited to, the Eye Opener, a fine art photography program; Peace, positive exposure and creative expression, an after-school program; Project Self-Portrait, a creative self-awareness program; Say It With Your Chest, a graphic design program; Youth Art Immersion, an intense 2-month art therapy program that includes field trips and an artist retreat; and Kabila Student Parent Community Union, a program dedicated to healing for African American students who make up less than 15% of their school population. I have to say, as a resident here in Pomona, they are a standard in our community. They are a pillar in our community, and they provide so much support to so many people in our community through art, through healing, through therapy, for providing a space where we get to learn and grow and beyond. And I also would say, beyond Mia's professional endeavors, Mia is a loving mother of 6 and a grandmother of 4. So we really appreciate her being here today. And Mia, with that, we will turn our forum over to you. Thank you.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Black History Month. And it just so happens in the middle of our month, everybody wants to celebrate love. So happy Valentine's Day. Express your Black on Black love today. This is amazing. I am so happy to be here. Healing, art and healing, art therapy, self-care, all of these things are dear to me. And so I'm happy to come and share what I know, but I feel like, I shouldn't say but, and I feel like learning is a community experience. So if you have something to ask or interject, please feel free. Let's grow as a community in this thing. That being said, if you were here early enough, you know that I am not Zoom proficient. So y'all bear with me. I'm gonna do the best I can. I am Mia Lee, as Latrice said, and I am with Conceptual Art Therapy, also with an organization that we founded called Kabila, which is Swahili for tribe. And in that organization, we do classes and interactions for African American students who are less than 15% of their population. That goes throughout LA County. So if you know some of those and want to send them our way for French classes or one-on-one music mentoring, send me a message. We want to reach out to all of you. And then all that being said, let me share my screen. Yes.
It's not coming yet, but if you want to, just take your time, you're fine.
Okay. I apologize for this.
It's okay.
It's telling me to open system preferences.
And if you want, we can assist you by sharing the PowerPoint, and you can tell me next. I follow instructions very well.
That would be amazing.
Perfect. Give me 1 second to pull it up. Just give me 1 moment and we will start from the beginning. So as we prepare, if there's anyone who wouldn't mind sharing it, if you could go ahead and put in the chat your famous or favorite artists. That would be nice. While we get this up. Go ahead and use your chat. Let's see. Someone played the whispers. That works too. Can someone give me a thumbs up if we're ready? Mia, is this the proper slide?
Yes, I think I'm seeing something on top. Yeah, so I thought we would start with the spoken word. So that is just the, if you are able to copy and paste that link.
Can do. One moment. Mhm. I'll stop the share for a second. So I can grab the link and put it in over there. Technology.
What I'm saying to you this morning, my
Can I get a thumbs up if everyone could see
even
it?
if it falls your lot to be a street sweeper. Go
Yes,
on
yes.
out and sweep streets like Michelangelo painted pictures. Sweep streets like Handel and Beethoven composed music. Sweep streets so well that all the hosts of heaven and earth will have to pause and say, here lived a great street sweeper who swept his yard.
Black. Black like bebop and Bessie Smith blues. Black like Bad Morning and Bouquet by Langston Hughes. Black like the beatbox of Big Buff and Biz Marquis. Black like the black love of Ozzie Davis and Ruby Dee. Brilliance. Brilliance like the resilience of a runaway slave, wading through waters to cover the tracks that they made. Brilliance like the millions who marched on D.C., getting bussed in as Bayard Rustin gathered the crowd for King's Dream. Because black excellence is not just a testament of the tenacity of the will, it is the rule and not the exception of an exceptional people who still have to navigate a landscape that was painstakingly designed. So we sail fate with no fail-safe, even though we never felt safe enough to shine. But shine we will, and illuminate in the darkness like black gums against gold grills, in mathematics and science as architects and engineers, as homemakers, as risk takers, as innovators and pioneers, from Basquiat to Barat, from the Black Madonna to Ma'at, from Tallahassee to Timbuktu, from St. Louis, Missouri to Mogadishu. Black brilliance is what I see. Black brilliance is you. Black brilliance is me. I am Black brilliance.
I chose that because sometimes when we're creating or when we think about art, we think that it's something that a gift of someone else. But I felt like listening to that and to his words, we could kind of grasp that we all have something in us. We all, as it took me a long time to say that I was an artist. I would say, oh, I'm a graphic artist, oh, I'm a writer, I'm this. But we are an artist. We create, we are creators. That's what we do. And when we tap into that creativity that we all have, we tap into our brilliance. And it's in all of us. And so I thought if we started off with that, it would kind of ease us into what art can do for us, not just as an artist for the benefit of others, but for the benefit of ourselves. If I'm a little off, I don't know if y'all saw my boss, husband, coworker, boyfriend, best friend, while we were presenting, came and gave me my Valentine's Day gift. So if I seem a little shaky, that's because I wasn't expecting it. But I am so grateful. And I think he knows how nervous I am with this whole Zoom thing. So I think he was trying to calm my nerves, took me another way. Thank you, baby. Okay, so the next slide. Okay, so we're gonna talk about how art brings healing. I've said it does, but like, how does it do it? Oh, my screen just went away, or half of it is blocked. Oh, there it is. Okay, so you ever heard artsy people? So my husband is an MFA, and so we're always around artsy people, gallery people. And I didn't always know the lingo, but I felt like they were allowing me to sit at the cool kids table, so I would just hang out and listen. And one of the things that they would say is you have to sit with the piece, right? Like you got to sit with the piece so that you can understand it and you can get what the artist was trying to communicate, and get what is being communicated to you, whether that is what the artist was trying to communicate or not. And I was like, sit with a piece, like just sit with it. I don't get it. But what that is like spending time, letting your mind go and just spending time looking at a piece. Do y'all remember those posters that were real popular? If you stared at them a certain way, they would pop out at you 3D. It's kind of like that. You have to let go of what your mind was telling you was there and allow what the art is doing to come into you, right? Okay, I know that sounds real, I don't know, artsy fartsy, but we're gonna try that. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, so this artist, her name is Bisa Butler. Raise your hand if you've heard of Bisa. Okay, so Bisa's art is quilting. So what we're looking at right here is a quilt. This is all, if you look closely, you can see the stitches, but if you sit with it and just kind of look, you start to see like the glimmer in the young girl's eye, right? Like, how did that get there? And you see the oranges and you see how the orange protrudes through, you can see it through her chest in some places, and how her arms are crossed, right? And as you're looking at it and you let your mind release what you should be seeing, right? You start to pick up on the threads and the use of color that she has there, and the way that this young lady is looking at us. She is she is fierce, right? The way that she used fabric to do her Afro puffs. I don't know, part of it is cut off on the top here, but she has 2 Afro puffs on the top of her head. Now, at first glance, when I looked at Bisa's work, I had no idea it was a quilt, right? Like everybody stay in your own lane, right? So I could never. I mean, I could never like paint this would be difficult for me, but to put this together in cloth, that's a whole nother thing. So now as I'm sitting with this piece, as the artsy people tell us to do, now I'm thinking about how many times this cloth passed through her hands as she created this, right? And how she thought about how she placed the cloth that became the eyelashes and the eyebrows, and the love and the care that went into this, and just the hours and the thought and the process, and because there's mechanics involved in this. There's a lot of mechanics involved with this. So it's a skill level in quilting combined with the artistic things that she's doing here. And it's just like, okay, so now that I'm sitting with you, Anaya, that's the name of the piece, Anaya with oranges. Now that I'm sitting with you, Anaya, I'm starting to feel what you're trying to tell me. you're trying to tell me that you're worthy of this space that you're taking up, right? She almost looks to me defiant, right? Like, what you looking at kind of thing going on, right? Like, what does anybody else want to share what they see as they sit with this piece?
I'll share. When I look at the piece, I feel like she is owning her space that she's in, and when she walks in, the vibration in the room changes. That's what it looks like in her face.
It absolutely looks like it. Yes, I agree 100%. Yes.
Hi, this is Terry, and I see that she is comfortable in her own skin. I didn't even see the oranges. Thank you. I didn't even see the oranges until you said oranges. It's almost in the background. But yeah,
Right.
she looks fierce.
She looks fierce and she's confident, right? And then I kind of get a feeling, the longer I sit, I kind of get a feeling like, I hope she's still that way as she grows up, right? I hope nobody took her fierceness. I hope she still has that attitude, right? I hope she still owns her space, because she's definitely owning her space right here. Yeah, it's
You
the
know, I'm sorry.
artistry. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Tara.
You know, when you said that, what it brought to mind as I look at her is that she's definitely confident, but not only is she's on this space, but it's almost like this space is becoming her, because you see that orange goes into her chest and now it's a
Yes.
part of her.
Yeah.
So, you know, sometimes we can go into spaces and we become blank or not seen, but it's like she's taken that ownership that the space is her, you know, to me.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, I see that too. You're absolutely right. How many of us were this little girl? And how many of us knew this little? I was not her. I was timid and did not own my space until I was much older. But I knew her. We played on the playground together, right? So yes, these are the things I encourage you to check out Bisa, check out her works. She has some beautiful things. Aside from this. Can we go to the next slide? Because everybody talks about this artist now. Oh, yeah, I changed this one out, but this is what we're working with. Okay, so everybody's heard of, well, I shouldn't say everybody. Everybody is talking about, celebrities are talking about Basquiat now. Raise your hand if you've heard of Basquiat. Yeah. So looking at his work, at first glance, you think, oh, he just threw some things up, right? Or he's known for like scratching things out, like, you know, how he's X'd out the word beat bop and he's X'd out BPR, it looks like, and, you know, this is just a quick sketch or whatever. It's childish. It looks childish, right? But when we sit with his work, we understand that Basquiat was actually really using his work for his own self-care. There's a lot of things, as things went on in his life, it showed up in his art. This piece is actually the cover of a record that he produced, right? So his art wasn't, he moved his art into a different space for a while. He was doing music, he was producing music. And this was the cover for it. So, I mean, now if you could get your hands on that cover, you'd have, you know, a whole lot of money. But at the time, he was just screen printing the front and the back of these covers to produce his album. When we sit with Basquiat, we kind of get a glimpse into his trouble and his feeling of self-worth. So he has a lot of crowns in his work, like on this piece. And that crown is to symbolize the royalty, the lineage of the African-American community. And so every time you see that crown, that's what he's speaking of. On here, we see, I'm so sorry, this is not the one I wanted. on here. I switched off and didn't send you the new one. But on here, we're seeing a lot of what I would throw away. I mean, I don't know how the rest of you feel. This would not be something that I would present to the world, but he had something inside him that he wanted to share. He started off as a graffiti artist, and his graffiti name was Same Old, like same old stuff. Well, not stuff, but same old. And so he would tag New York with words mostly and not images of how he was feeling about police brutality, the economic situation of his African-American community, the art community, and how he felt accepted or not. And this is how he was expressing how his community was feeling and how he felt inside that community and how he felt as an African-American in the artist community. But now everybody, so Coach is making bags with his prints on it. And yeah, who is it? The Brooklyn Nets have Basquiat's artwork on their jerseys, the basketball jerseys, right? So it has become not just acceptable what he was doing, but it has become desirable, right? But he was just trying to protest. I don't know if you've seen a picture of him, but he had matted dreads, right? Like the free flow dreads. And even after he had attained much success in New York, he couldn't get a taxi cab to stop for him, right? So he rode a bike around New York. And he speaks about that in his art. He also died young of an overdose, right? Because he became a heroin addict. And all of these things, it's like, for us, we did a study with the youth in Pomona, a group of 12 to 17-year-olds on Basquiat and his artwork and how he was working things out, right? And so we could see like the transition of how he worked things out during that particular space in his life. Does anyone else, like, okay, for me, never considered myself an artist, but I always doodled, right? Who else sits on the phone or is in a heavy conversation trying to work something out and you're drawing, right? You're doodling, you're working out maybe what you want to say next, or writing down what they said or how you interpreted what they said. This is how this particular piece comes across to me. Like he's working some things out, some things that are going through his head, he's working them out. You have any comment on this piece of Basquiat or any other pieces that you may know of his?
Yeah, I just shared in the chat. I actually was shopping for my son for school and I noticed this artwork and I was not familiar with the artist, but I noticed artwork on these sweatshirts in the store. They had about 3 different styles. And so I purchased each one for him and he loves them because they're unique. So I put a picture of him in the chat wearing it because it's Basquiat's work and I loved it.
Nice. Yeah, he's gotten real popular commercial now. And I'm glad about it. I'm glad about it because now everybody can own something that he created or an image of what he created, because right now at the auctions, these originals are going for well over $1 million. So next screen. I'm so grateful for you, your help. Okay, so now we talk about how art brings you healing. It's great if you have access to an art therapist and you can go in and they can lead you through some exercises, or you can do some group art therapy. But what if you can't? Or what if that's not possible? Or what if you just need some therapy like in this moment, right? Like on your lunch break. What we have found is that creating is therapeutic, it's calming, it gets you away from your negative thought patterns, right? So what grandmama used to say were idle hands were the devil's workshop, right? And what that means is like when you're just sitting and thinking, and your hands don't have anything to do, then you start making moves that are not productive, right? But if you can release your thinking and start using your hands to create your own peace, working out your own just your own negativity and turning it into something else, then you start to relax and you start to get into a space where you can actually solve problems and make good decisions and do and have some healing for yourself. I think we talk about that more on the next slide. Oh, do you guys know Richard Wright, the author? Yeah. Okay, so this is about what this was shared from his daughter about what was happening while he was ill. He was passing away. She said that he wrote more than 4,000 haikus, poems, during his last year of illness. And what she was saying was he was bringing light into his darkest time, right? So we can do that. We have the power to do that for ourselves, right? If your art is writing, poetry, song, just short stories, all of these things that we create, anything that you are creating is art, right? So he was having a difficult time dealing with his illness, but he was able to write himself out of that, right? How many of us keep a journal or at one time kept a journal and that journal kept us sane? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you write it down, you get it out of your head and you get it on a piece of paper. And a lot of times what happens is you look back at what you wrote a week later, or sometimes it's some years later, and you have a more of a clarity of what was going on, right? Or sometimes it's the next morning, you look at it and you go, oh, I was tripping. Like, um,
You
it
know,
wasn't,
you
it
know,
was, go ahead,
I
Tara.
was just in I was just in class, and that was one of the things in a leadership class that I had, and they talked about journaling because one of the things it does also is you can look back and see your growth.
Yeah,
Maybe in that space you were kind of, mad or angry or just swinging it, but then you'll see that. But then as you keep journaling, you'll see the mood, how that changes and what happens and what did you do then because you're able to write those things down because so many things happen in today's day, girl, you can forget what just happened last hour. But
right.
if you're journaling, you will remember, oh, I did do that. Oh, wow. I felt so great then, and it might be something to remind you. I do like doing that. Sometimes things can happen and you change yourself again for others and things. You're like, you know what? I'd really enjoy doing this. I'm going to go back to planting flowers, things
Right.
like that.
Right. That's absolutely true. And you have a record of your successes, right? You have a record of trial and you made it through, trial and you made it through, right? So the next trial hit, even though it might be something, a totally different trial, you'd be like, I got this. I've done this before. Like I've worked through this. Who else is who who is writing poetry? Do we have any poets in the room?
Yes.
Yes. And how does that transform your mood when you're writing?
Well, it's actually like the title of this workshop. It's healing because a lot of times I write from a place of pain.
Yeah,
And it helps me get my words. It just flows out. And when I look back on it, it doesn't take me to that place again. It shows me where I've come from and what I've learned from it. Because a lot of times when you write poetry, it's an evolution. So a lot of times my poems, it'll start off like one way, and then at the end, it's like, okay, but I found myself. So in the end, it's like a gradual, evolution. So it's definitely healing. So it's something that I think that a lot of people should do. And it doesn't have to rhyme, it could just getting your words out. And so it
right,
is it's a gift and it's a form of art. So yeah.
right. I see you, Tangela. You said it helps balance your thoughts. Yes, for me also. For me also. It's almost like once I get it out of my head and on and out on paper, then it can stop spinning for me, right? Like, what if I did this, or what if I had done this, or what if this happens, or what, once it's something about getting it out of my head and onto that sheet of paper calms me, gives me a sense of direction and purpose, and all of these things. I knew there were poets in the room. I knew it. Can we go on to the next slide? I have no idea where my time is. Okay, so now we're just talking about how when you're creating, you get to connect with your imagination, which is a very powerful tool, whether you use it for good or for bad, is a very powerful tool. When we were young, we used our imagination all the time. We made up things in our head. We had in the car rides, right? While you're driving down the street, well, in the passenger seat, of course, you're making up stories in your head, keeping yourself occupied. And as we get older, we start to lose that, right? Or our imagination becomes a tool that keeps us from getting to where we're going instead of enhancing the trip, right? But when you connect to your imagination, to your creative spirit, your creativity, then it kind of calms you. It'll take you away from that trauma. It gives you a sense of control. Creating gives you this sense of, I can make this be what I want it to be, right? And a lot of us are sitting in times in our lives that we feel like we're out of control. We have, you know what, we have to do this, or this is gonna happen, and we're not in control of it. We don't get to choose this or this, we have to do that, right? But when you're creating, you get to choose what color you use, or how much of the space you take up, or how small the space you take up. You get to choose your story, right? When we're creating, whether you're writing the words or you're drawing the picture, it's a story. You're telling us something, or you're saying something to yourself, but you're getting it out there and it's your choice, right? Do we have any artists in here? Painters, people who draw, graphic designers?
Yeah,
Anybody?
I paint as well.
Oh, when is your show? When are you exhibiting? Let's go. How important are the colors that you use, or how do they tie into how you're feeling in the moment?
Well, for me, it may not necessarily be the colors, but they do play a huge part. But it's about a vision that I have. Like the one painting I had that I have is it's a road and it has trees, and the flower, not the flowers, but the trees are like brown, orange, like fall colors. But what it represented to me is the road to new beginnings and healing. And so that's why that's how it came to life. So I wanted a road with trees and like the sun shining behind the trees. So kind of like a vision you start off with.
Okay. Oh, I'm trying to see this chat. I'm sorry.
I'll post my painting in the chat.
Okay. Okay. Latrice, you're trying to tell me about my time, yes?
Yes, just keeping you updated.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate you. So let's move on to the next slide. Do I need to be an artist to benefit from art therapy? Absolutely not. Next slide. This is my self-portrait, literally my self-portrait. So, and I draw it all the time. And depending on how I'm feeling, the cloth that is over my body will change, right? So I say that to say sometimes I just need to get something out, right? And my art of choice is writing poetry or short story, but sometimes I'm just feeling yellow, right? So I'm putting yellow down and blue down, and I like white space. It makes me feel like I have options, right? But this is my self-portrait. My husband has an MFA and he's a wonderful artist. And so for him, when I first started doing this, it was only a year ago, my self-portrait, I didn't want to show him. Like, he's like, what are you doing? And I was like, well, this is my self-portrait. And he was really, really pleased because it brought me out of the box that I create with words only, right? Does anybody in here like to color? Whose art therapy is coloring?
Me too.
I love it. I have the big box of coloring pencils that has like 20 of every color, and we can all sit down and color anytime y'all want.
Yes.
But for me, it's freeing, right? Because I was that kid in class that when the art teacher came, I was nervous. I was so upset. I needed somebody to tell me exactly what to do. It was too much freedom to give me a blank canvas and tell me to paint anything I wanted. And I've worked through that, but the way I worked through it was through coloring, right? My older sister told me once, when you're coloring, you can make your sky any color you want. You can have a purple sky, you can have orange skin, you can have, red flowers or orange flowers. It doesn't matter because it's your picture. You're creating it while you're coloring it. And so that was where I found my creativity, because just a blank canvas was too much for me. Let's go on to the next one. I want to get to the exercise. Okay, we'll go through this really quick. Anxiety, depression, and the relationship to creating. Next slide. So anxiety is a preoccupation with the future. When we're anxious, we're thinking about what might happen, right? And it sometimes immobilizes us, shakes us up. We don't know what to do. Next slide. Depression is a preoccupation with the past. So when we're feeling depressed, it's usually because of something that has already happened and that we're afraid it's going to happen again, or that we'll never recover from it, but we're replaying over and over what we would deem in our mind as a failure. Okay, next slide. But you have to be present to create, right? So in that moment while you're creating, if you're creating for 5 minutes or for 5 hours, you are free from all anxiety and depression because you're right here in the present. You can't focus on tomorrow and paint your picture or write your poem today. It's something wonderful about our minds is that our mind can only be in one place at a time, right? So if we're creating and we're in the present, that's the only place our mind can be at that time. And that gives us a break, right? Because with all that we have going on in our lives right now, to have that break, that space where you're just right here, right now, doing this one thing, and you're not worried about what happened yesterday or what's going to happen tomorrow. It gives your mind this space to come up with witty inventions and solutions and work your way through whatever it is that you're working through at the time. Next slide. Okay, so this is our break. I don't know how much time we have, so maybe we'll only get to one of them. But now's the time that you take out your blank sheet of paper. And next slide. I'm going to give you a prompt. And I thought this would be like the easiest prompt ever. So 3 things I cannot live without. Don't study it. It's not a test. It's not an essay question. What we're going to do is just free flow write. Don't even worry if what you're saying makes sense. And we're going to take 60 seconds and just write it out, scribble it out. 3 things I can't live without. How you guys doing? What'd you get? Was anybody surprised by what they wrote while they were just in free flow?
Mine's is God, family, and love. So that's what came to mind initially. So wasn't surprised. It's a given.
Right. Okay. So did who felt like that was a long time just to write?
Mhm.
Or who felt like they ran out of time?
Yeah, I ran out of time.
Right. Yeah, so when I did this exercise, 3 things I cannot live without, I only got to the first thing, right? Because found myself writing about why I can't live without it. Music, why I can't live without music and what it does for me and how it moves me and all the things. Love, kids, God, yeah, all the things. But I was surprised that I chose music first, right? I didn't realize how important and how it would pop up in my head the first time, right? For the first thing. So we're gonna do one more prompt, right? And this time we're going to do 90 seconds. And we're gonna do that on next slide. My Black is. Flow with it. There's no right, no wrong. I would love it if somebody shared what they finished with, but you don't have to.
I would love to share.
Okay.
I wrote as 3 words. My Black is unapologetic. My Black is nurturing. My Black is freedom.
Yeah. Yes. Would anybody else like to share? Who's still writing? A lot of us are. My Black is a lot of things. You guys feel free to chime in if you want to share while we're still writing.
Okay, I will. My Black is priceless. My Black is worthy. My Black is forever evolving.
Nice.
And I wrote, my Black is intricate.
Mm.
My Black is multifaceted. My
Right.
Black is loved. My Black is adorned. My Black is blessed.
Yes.
And my Black is beautiful.
Yes. I love that.
I'll go. I think instantly I thought brilliant, and I'm sure it's because you had subliminally and consciously put that in my mind. So thank you for that. Educated, beautiful, fun, loving, sassy, empowering, joyous, God-filled, hopeful, rejoicing forever.
I love it.
And everything you guys are saying is a form of art and it's poetry. So
Yes.
you guys are
Yes.
amazing.
We are a
Everybody
room
said
full
something
of poets.
amazing. Yes.
Room full of poets. I wrote, my Black is strong but subtle, taking up space in all the places, refusing to change but constantly evolving.
All right now.
Thank
I love that.
you. My Black is all year long. Yes, Tina, all year long. We're starting this month Black History classes all year long. It's going to be fourth Saturday of the month because I don't think our history can fit into 1 month, right? So nice. Okay, does anybody else want to share before we go to the next slide? Okay, next slide. Okay, your art therapy toolbox, right? Get a tote bag, a Ziploc bag, any kind of bag. It's like consider it your emergency bag, right? And put your tools in there that help you to create, whether that be markers or watercolor pens or pencils, a sketch pad, blank sheets of paper. Find you some things and put them in there so that you can take that your lunch break, right? And go sit in the cafeteria, sit in the car, sit wherever, and write it out, sketch it out, get it out of you. Give yourself that release. Bring yourself into the present, right? Oh, I have this important meeting coming up. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I haven't worked it out yet. I don't have the solution. While you're in that space, that where you're present and you're creating, you'll find that your solutions are being created at the same time. So as you take that piece of paper out and write out a quick poem, or just write out how you're feeling in the moment, and which a lot of times turns into a poem, not always a good one, but as you write these things out, you get them out and your creativity flowing, you'll find that, okay, I took a 5-minute break. You know, we took 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, and wrote about the things that I can't do without. In other words, the things that we love. We took, you know, just to get out the things that we love. And then we talked about who we are, right? For 90 seconds. And just in that time, that's what we were concentrating on, right? What we love and what we love about ourselves, right? And so we gave our minds a great break from whatever else y'all have to do the rest of the day. And I hope all those things are good things, but sometimes we're thinking about we have to cook that Valentine's Day meal, right? And did you go to the grocery store? Because I didn't. Oh, he can hear me. And so all of these things that we have on our plates, that we put on there ourselves, that we need to get done during the day, sometimes they can overwhelm us. Whip out your sketch pad, whip out a piece of paper, keep some coloring pencils in there. I have a coloring book and coloring pencils on deck all the time. Whip it out, you know, work it out. Give yourself a break, right? Give yourself a break. I think it's the easiest, cheapest, can do anywhere self-care ever, right? Whip out your pencil and paper, jot it down, write a poem, draw a stick figure, however you're feeling. Give yourself that break. You deserve it. Next slide. Oh, this is just us. Find us, follow us, join us. We are based in Pomona, California. Kabila is for the African American, specifically for the African American community. Conceptual art therapy is open to everyone. If you have any questions that you want to ask, I have no idea what my time is like, but I am open. You can email me at that space. Oh, I have 2 minutes. You can email me at that space. That email that was on your screen, mia@conceptualarttherapy.com. I'll put it in the chat. But if you have a question of me right now, or if there's something, if you're looking for what you can do for your art therapy, or if you have children that you want to get involved, you have children that are dealing with it, and a lot of them are now anxiety and stress, and the pressures of doing well, or living up to the expectations of others, or living down to the expectation of others is also a problem for our children right now. Reach out to me or ask me here in the next 2 minutes and I can share resources with you.
I don't see
Do you have an
any
Instagram?
hands.
I
I
just wondered if
do.
you have share your Instagram so we can, yeah.
It's okay. I told you I am not I'm not Zoom savvy, but my Instagram is Conceptual Art Therapy, and also Kabila_SPCU. And I just realized how to open the chat, so I'm gonna type it in here right now.
Okay.
Right. So for those of you that are members of the association and those that are guests, I just want to ask in these last moments, what did you think about today? Give some thoughts. Share your thoughts.
I think it was very it was very inspiring, as well as just thinking of the things that she shared. makes you expound upon like, okay, I need to do more self-care and taking time to do things that I enjoy as far as like painting and coloring and things like that. So it's definitely a kind reminder, and it was healing for me as well to come today.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Anyone else?
I thought it was really good. This is Tina. I thought it was good as well. Like when she said, grab your little bag or a Ziploc and put your items in there that you like, your toolbox basically. And I was thinking, and then go out to the beach and just color or whatever you want to do and look at the water. It's so soothing and peaceful, and just meditate or just whatever. Everything today was really good. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I
This
would
is your-
say, Madam President, as we say, our mantra, educate, empower. And that's the one I think it hits on, empowering. And sometimes I think we, especially probably most of us on here are women, we forget the empowerment that we have. And I think just hearing, as the other young lady stated today, reminding us of those things that we have in our own hands that cost nothing, but that time, and our time is very valuable. So we should empower ourselves to take that time and do those doodling or whatever it is, recording, so that we can listen back and look back to see from whence we come and where we can go.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I see someone in the chat. Denise, would you like to share? Okay. So I keep hearing, we've heard a lot of comments last week about our lunchtime conversation. And some are saying that we should do this more often. So we will take a look into that, because as Mia said, 1 month is not enough, even with a leap year being 29 days this month, to share all that we have accomplished and contributed to this beautiful country. Although the national theme for Black History Month for 2024 is Blacks in the Arts, we have been exploring and seeing that there's a little bit of art in us all, and that some of the resistance, some of the perseverance, some of the uplifting, some of the sorrow, some of all of it has been displayed and communicated through the language we call arts. So as you go back to your day, I thank you for sharing your lunchtime with us. We won't be here next Wednesday. Our next lunch conversation will take place on February the 28th. It'll be our very last one. I want to invite you to invite your friends to come and join you for lunch on the 28th. But Mia, before we go, I want to thank you. I need to thank you for being here with Lakea today and sharing just how these little simple things could be healing, because self-care is the best care. We must continue to pour into ourselves so that we can pour into others. So we thank you, Mia. And do know this, you have a lifelong partner with the Los Angeles County African American Employees Association, and we will support you as you support us to get our people into a space of health.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here. Enjoy
Madam
the rest
President,
of your day.
Madam President, did you remind
Yes.
them why we're not going to be here next Wednesday? Because of what we're going to do next Thursday?
You can. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, everyone, we are having our what we call our Crystal Eagle Awards, and that is virtually, but it is next Thursday night, the 22nd, before our gala. We're going to have a virtual celebration where we are celebrating Miss Cynthia McCoy Miller with
Yes.
our Crystal Eagle Award, who has helped us and been a side of us all this way, and she's also our executive advisor. And actually, also our guest speaker will be the director of arts and culture. Yes. So you don't want to miss Thursday night. Miss Tina Robinson, our second vice, going. And you have anything else? She is over our virtual Black History program.
No, you've said it all. We look forward to each and every one of you joining us on the 22nd for our virtual Crystal Eagle Award at 7:30. Like Tara said, we'll be honoring Cynthia McCoy Miller. We're gonna have a great time. It's open to all, so come on and join us, Ms. Mia. We would look forward to having you join us that day and our gala on that Friday. So we look forward to seeing everyone here next week on Thursday, Crystal Eagle Award. Thank you, Madam President. Back to you.
Well, I'll keep the room open for a little while for those that want to just vibe out as we leave. But I did want to again thank you all for being here with us today and enjoy the rest of your day. Look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you. God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you.